Welcome to the Biohacker Babes podcast with your hosts, Lauren Barattiero and Renee Bells. We're sisters, and we're here to empower you to take control of your health journey, optimizing your wellness with the latest science-backed tools, expert interviews, and personalized insights. All simplified and ready for you to take action. If you're ready to discover your true health potential and the greatest version of yourself, it's time to dive in. Dr. Paul, welcome back. We love saying that. Welcome back to the Biohacker Babes podcast. We're so happy you're here with us again.
I'm so excited.
Yay, we're all so excited. Yeah, it's so cool to have someone back on because we get to go a little bit deeper. And there's always like new things. And hydrogen is a buzzword. It's becoming buzzier for many, many good reasons. And when we had you on before, we talked about the endless benefits. And there's 1,500 studies, at least there were then. I'm sure there's more studies.
Yeah, still 1,500 roughly.
Roughly, a lot of studies around this stuff.
There were probably 1,200 then, and now there's 1,500.
Got it. Okay. Lots and lots of research. So we're excited to kind of revisit this and go a little bit deeper. I'm curious, from the last time that we talked to you, which was 3 years ago on the podcast, is there anything that's like really new or surprising or that you think will just like totally blow our audience's mind about hydrogen?
Well, there's always wonderful research coming out. Typically, what's interesting and new for me is about fat loss. There is so much coming out now on how hydrogen is similar to a calorie restriction diet, and hip to waist ratios are being measured. Adipose tissue, different things are being affected by hydrogen baths, for instance. I know we only talked about drinking the water when we were there before, but now there's really so much research in inhalation in the bath units and the differences in what they accomplish in the body versus just drinking the water. Really, there's research showing that all mechanisms of getting hydrogen in the body actually do. Some things are different, some are similar through different pathways. So it's very exciting. And then we have launched a new drink mix that's sour apple or apple flavored hydrogen prebiotic. So you get 3 prebiotics and hydrogen in a stick pack. And so people are loving that. And then, of course, we launched our newest Echo Flask, which is an app controlled hydrogen manufacturing unit that's portable with the battery. So that's all new.
It's very beautiful. It's actually very sexy, I think. The bottle's beautiful. So anyone that's watching on YouTube, you can look at that bottle.
It's so cool.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
Super
I still
nice.
got the OG over here.
Hey, I should grab
I got
mine
the
just so you
OG.
won't feel alone. I still have those too, but I definitely am using the Flask because it is 50% more water than the Echo Go Plus. So it's 12 ounces versus 8 usable ounces. And instead of 4.5 to 5 parts, this is 6 to 8 parts per million. And it can also be dropped from 6 feet. You know, it's just a whole different deal. And we manufacture this in the Philippines in our own facility. So it's just a big step up.
Nice. Better than an
Awesome.
iPhone. Okay.
Yeah.
So for
Lauren
anyone
needs
that... I know, I drop
Guess
my
what?
phone
I wasn't an iPhone
constantly.
user when we did our podcast, and now I am. So that's new too.
Welcome.
That's new too.
So for anyone that wasn't here with us last time, can we just step back and do a basic overview of what hydrogen is? Because people that drink water, I'm sure they're going, well, there's hydrogen in water. What is the
Right.
difference with molecular hydrogen water versus regular water?
You know, Lauren, that's the number one thing people say. And I understand why they say it, because obviously H2O is water. But what people aren't understanding is that H2O, when it's combined, it is 2 gases, but when they combine, they form a liquid. So you no longer have gas in that liquid. So there is no hydrogen in normal tap water, drinking water. When you go to get a bottle of water from somewhere, there is no hydrogen in that. What we need in our body is H2 gas. Normally, we would produce that in our intestinal tract when we ferment food, but that requires the correct bacteria in our intestinal tract. So if we have gut dysfunction, we lose the ability to produce hydrogen, and therefore we lose the system that's built into our body to manage inflammation and to manage oxidation. So we end up with oxidative stress and inflammation, which is the leading cause of disease. So that's why gut dysfunction end result is disease. It's because hydrogen production is lost. And so what we're really doing is giving the hydrogen back to the body. And yes, within 2 weeks, you can repair a gut. Hydrogen will repair a gut, where people that are gluten and dairy intolerant can typically eat gluten and dairy after they have consumed, the water with hydrogen gas in it. For 2 weeks, they can typically eat gluten and dairy without any inflammatory response. So these are great things that people are experiencing, and it's very chartable now. But, immune function is going to increase, energy levels are going to increase, focus for those that have cognitive function issues, tremors, ADHD, ADD, whatever it is. It's going to help your brain. It's going to help your mitochondrial function. It's going to help with less fatigue, your eyesight, your skin, the way you look and feel, and all that. So that's what hydrogen does. And just remember, your body was designed to produce hydrogen. That's how critical. Even if you look at stomach acid, you can't even make stomach acid without hydrogen gas. What is stomach acid? HCl. What's the H? Hydrogen. So that's why we have so many digestive disorders. That's why we have so many digestive issues. People aren't producing hydrogen. And so they're having to take stuff to help them do that. So that's what we need to understand. And when we look at humic acid, which is a lot of what probiotics are, that's just creating hydrogen in the gut. When you look at humic acid, that's what it's doing when it reacts in the gut. So I
Huh.
am all for
Didn't know
fixing the
that.
gut. I think that's where the problems stem from. And so hydrogen water or echo water is the best way to do that.
Very
Hmm.
cool. So if we have gut dysfunction, we can't produce hydrogen, but then we need hydrogen to fix the gut dysfunction. So, okay, there's a lot happening there. Yeah, in our last episode, we did talk about like leaky gut, the impact on the gut microbiome, things like that. That's super fascinating. Wait, so humic acid. So, I mean, I'm drinking my hydrogen water every day, but I'm also taking humic acid in like a supplement form. So, am
Okay.
I getting extra
Do you
hydrogen?
ever have any issues with gluten and dairy, or do you have any of those kind of issues? Because if you don't need to take it anymore. You can just be drinking the water. And so kind of
Oh, okay, I like that.
this is how life is. We would typically be eating foods that have contaminants, heavy metals, pesticides, whatever, and that would destroy the terrain and the biome. So what do I mean by that? This is the $1 million question, because people talk, everybody that's out there talking talks about gut issues and vitamin D levels, right? That's the topic of today. Well, no one has a clue what gut issues really are. And we do hear the words leaky gut, and I don't know what that even means, because it's not going down your leg or something. I don't know what leaky gut is.
You got
It's kind of
leaky
a,
leg.
yeah, it's like, it's like stuff's, it's already an open system. So I don't know what leaky gut would be, but
Yeah,
it's
leaky
okay.
air gut, maybe.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
leakier, like, oops. So the whole point is it's a bacterial issue. That's what we need to understand. Gut issues are a bacterial issue. And what do we need to fix that? We need the proper environment for bacteria to thrive. Well, what is that environment? What environment do bacteria like? It's an electrical environment. So we need the tissue of the gut to be a negative 300 to a negative 400 millivolts of electrical potential. Then these bacteria are in love with that and they will come back. We don't need to seed anything. We just need to create the environment and they will come back. That's what is so simple about fixing gut issues. And people are spending hundreds of dollars on stuff that's going to take up to 2 years to fix their gut. And by then, they're going to have another sickness, another antibiotic, and boom, wipe out all the bacteria again. So, literally, they can just get a flask, drink it for 2 weeks, 3 to 6 of these a day. And next thing you know, you have your gut intact. It's going to start the first day. And by 2 weeks, you're going to see significant differences and potentially a full betterment. But the reality is you'll be able to eat foods you haven't been able to eat in 10 years. You'll be able to do what, you're doing, because your immune function is also tied to gut health. And so your immune function will increase. Your ability to consume foods and digest them appropriately will increase. And to be honest, you could probably cut out a lot of the things people are taking every day once your gut is reestablished because you have plenty of nutrition in your food. And I know people talk a lot about, oh, food today is different than, and the earth's depleted and all. We don't need a million units of every vitamin and mineral. We just need small amounts every day. And you can get plenty of that if you're eating appropriate vegetables. If you can go farm to table, if you can go organic, of course, that's what I do. I think it's highly beneficial to the body to not have pesticides in your food. But I will tell you, if you eat whole foods, you do get enough in them if your gut is working correctly. If your gut's not, then that's where supplementation is necessary because people are eating out of boxes are not getting the food ingredient. They're getting something else. They're not getting actual vitamins, minerals, and the building blocks of your body. So starting a gut restore issue with the Echo Flask would be what you would want to do, or just get the Echo H2 machine or the under sink kitchen makeover that is reverse osmosis and hydrogen. But this is something you're going to need to drink the rest of your life because until Bobby Kennedy, which I don't think is going to happen fully, but if he could wipe out all pesticides in food, we would see a huge improvement in gut health and immune function and disease models. A, it's going to take a while. B, I don't know that it's ever going to be fully done because there are so many chemicals in food that are shortcuts from whole food items that you just need to take care of your own health and don't rely on government entities to make your decisions for you or to protect you. You should filter your own water and don't have your body be a filter. You should filter your food, right? And
Mm-hmm.
get healthy foods that don't have contaminants in them. So the reality though is when I travel, I can't always get organic, non-GMO foods. I can't always get pesticide free. I just can't. And the
Yeah.
level of discipline that it takes, I have lived, and I would tell you that I don't want to do that all the time. So I take an Echo Flask with me and I drink that so that whatever damage I'm doing with foods I'm eating on the road will be undone by the hydrogen. That's really the reality is it becomes a part of your life so that when you're doing a little damage, you're doing a little fix, do a little damage, do a little fix every day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of already answered the question I wanted to ask is like, is this something you have to do forever? Because I think hydrogen is a signaling molecule, correct? Like it's kind of teaching the body to do it. In a perfect world, if we got rid of the pesticides, processed food, pollution, our guts could maintain that
100%.
terrain, but that's not the case. That's not the reality.
Yeah.
The
Well,
happiest day for Dr. Paul would be a day that you don't need Echo water in
yeah.
the world.
Yeah.
And that sounds
Yeah.
weird when I created it and love it and we're healing so many people every day, but I would prefer if food and the environment we lived in was clean and healthy, that we could accomplish our divine potential without needing hydrogen supplementation. Wouldn't that be incredible?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good goal. We're going to try and put you out of business,
I
Paul.
love that.
Yes, we're trying to take you out.
Yeah, take me out, sister. So the reality is, until then,
Until then,
drink
we
Echo
gotta.
water because it really, really will help you. But,
Yeah.
there's some things I do in life. All the products I've developed really are to help my wife. So I tell people anything good I've accomplished, it was to help my queen and the love of my life. The two
Amazing.
companies that I own, Echo Water, that I created the first hydrogen water system, and I'm the pioneer for hydrogen water 16 years ago. And then also Luminova, which is red light and vitamin D. We have a patented vitamin D light, which can double vitamin D levels in 90 days. There's nothing else in the world that can make that claim except for going in the sun in Florida, because that's where the UV is so high. But places where I live in Utah, much of the year, A, it's too chilly to go outside. Who's going to get in a bathing suit and go out there when it's 30 degrees? Some people might, but
People
typically I
might.
don't. But there's also no UVB in the sun in those same times of year when it's cold out. You don't have the UV rays, so you can't convert the light into vitamin D a good portion of the year when you're north of the 37th parallel. So if you kind of draw a little tiny smiley face from San Francisco over to Richmond, Virginia, that is the line. Anything north of that, you can't get vitamin D all year round in the sun.
So you just have to move to Vegas.
You have to move to Vegas. That's right. Renee has a place for you.
Always campaigning.
Always. So I'll tell you my secret, what I do in the winter. So I have a rooftop deck at my house.
Okay, I'm coming.
And yeah, you're like, enough said. So in the winter, even though it gets kind of chilly in Vegas, that sun, as long as there's no clouds, it's so
still
strong.
serious.
So I'll put a blanket down, and the way the walls are, it blocks any wind. And I can go up there in like a bathing suit in December and lay and get sunshine and vitamin D in it. Like,
That's
it
awesome.
feels so good. I know. So I'm very fortunate to live where I live for that
Yeah.
reason. But
You're very fortunate.
not everyone can
And
do that.
others can be that fortunate too. They just have to like plan it, move, and then get a
Uproot their
place.
lives.
Yeah. But there's too many people here. So maybe don't.
Renee just reneged. She's like, don't come here
She
anymore.
rescinds the invitation.
No more traffic. No more traffic, please.
She's like, Henderson is full. Everywhere's full. Stop coming. Yeah,
I heard New Mexico's great.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, so the vitamin D is cool. Well, I definitely want to talk about red light and the vitamin D, but just to take a step back with the focus on hydrogen, what are you seeing with like mitochondrial function? Because I feel like mitochondria is another buzzword right now. You know, people are doing the NAD and the methylene blue and fasting. So
Yep.
what about hydrogen for mitochondria?
So that's actually what blew hydrogen up, and why people don't focus on it, I don't understand. But the first big study that was published by Nature Medicine in 2008 and 2009 was on the hydroxyl radical, where the hydroxyl radical is in the mitochondria. That's where it is, and that's why the hydroxyl radical is the most cell damaging radical in the human body, but it's in the respiratory chain of the mitochondria, and it's stopping ATP production. So the first study that Nature Medicine published, that now we have thousands of studies because of it, is because they were saying that hydrogen was a selective antioxidant. It only reached and reacted with cytotoxic or cell damaging oxygen radicals, which hydroxyl radical is. And where are the oxygen radicals? Definitely in the mitochondrial respiratory chain. And when people are sugar and carb loading to get energy, like a turbo button, they're going to produce oxygen radicals more. That's going to be in the mitochondrial respiratory chain. So the very thing they're using to get more energy is going to create more problems.
Mhm.
Now, there were studies done on hydrogen water versus coffee, and hydrogen water increased energy 10% more than coffee, but there was no dip in 15 minutes, which typically is with caffeine or coffee. So the people that have been sleep deprived for 24 hours in the study that drank the hydrogen water had an increase of energy, and it stayed. It didn't dip again after 15 or 20 minutes like you would with coffee. So just understand, this has all been tested on mitochondria, has been tested. And I will tell you, that's one of the big things that athletes want, is they don't fatigue at a normal rate. Like, there were studies on soccer players where they would do exercise-induced muscle decline studies to see what happens if we're on a bike doing a VO2 max or whatever we're doing, and they would have them running, and see when they hit fatigue. What would be called exercise-induced muscle decline. When do they hit that point? Everyone drinking the placebo water hit it at normal. Everyone drinking the hydrogen water, there was no lactate buildup in the muscle, and therefore there was no reduction of muscle performance, and they just kept on going.
Wow.
Wow.
Are there
Okay.
a ton of athletes that use this and they just don't want to share their secrets?
Girlfriend, let me tell you. So,
Competitive advantage?
okay, so the 49ers, top 8 players in the 49ers use our water. The Dodgers use our water. The Raiders have our system. The UFC has our system. Not only just Dana White, but in UFC Apex, and we have several of the UFC that are using our water. So Djokovic, the tennis player, right? Ronaldo, the soccer player, has every single product we make.
Well, you should get a cut of his $40 million.
I should not. He deserves that, and I don't need it. But here's the deal. I love to say that such an incredible specimen of a man uses our product to help his performance. That's amazing.
That's amazing.
And Tom
Yeah.
Brady, of course, endorses, and he's the epitome of an athlete who stayed longer than most in the NFL and is not only an incredible human being and just, you know, I don't know, what would you call it? Issue free.
Sure.
When
Yeah.
it comes to a
Issue free.
celebrity, issue free is good, right?
No
So
drama. Just does a
yeah,
really
yeah,
great
save it
job.
for your mama, as they say. The reality is Tom Brady is a wonderful example, and he loves Echo water.
Okay, great testimonials. And they're all using the bath and inhalation.
I wouldn't
These
say they
people?
all. I know Dwayne Johnson has the
Okay.
bath, Leonardo DiCaprio has the bath, Jake Paul has the bath, Grant Cardone has the bath, Gary Brecka has the
Of
bath,
course. Yeah.
Ronaldo has the bath. I would say Djokovic is drinking the water. I don't know if he has, I doubt he has the bath unit. Yeah, so I mean, it just
So
depends. The Raiders have our machine. The 49er players have the flask, and the Dodgers have the flask because they can take it on the road with them.
Yeah.
amazing.
Question about, sorry, can I ask real quick, Laura?
You go.
When you take the flask or the bottle and you're traveling, what kind of water are you putting in there? Because sometimes I have a hard time finding, good clean water. Do you try and buy spring water and then put it through the hydrogen? What do you do when you travel?
I just get filtered water. I don't do too crazy. Here in my home, I have the Echo Pure whole house system that is as close to RO as you can get without an RO system because I don't want to have a 300-gallon tank in my house. Not that that's a bad thing, but I would rather just have an unlimited supply of water as long as the water municipality is sending it our way. I do have our whole house system, which is amazing. Then under my sink in the kitchen, I have our Echo reverse osmosis and the Echo hydrogen system that's under the sink with the machine, the ultimate machine behind it, because my wife, of course, wants the ultimate. And the system that I have in my house, I have the best water you could put in your body. When I leave the house and I go to a restaurant, I will not drink tap water. And it's a kind of a funny thing. People that go places with me, it becomes, they know it's coming. But imagine you and I, we're at dinner, right? And let's pretend that we're there. And I'd be like, hey, and they're going to bring the water to the table. And I'm like, hey, is that filtered water? And they look at me like I just asked them if they were from the moon. And they're like, what? And I'm like, okay, where did you get this from? And they're like, oh, the tap, the faucet. And I'm like, oh, please remove that from the table. And they're like, look at me like I'm nuts, right? And I said, listen, can you get me water at least from the Coke machine?
Hmm.
And the reason being is because there's a filtration system that the water has to go through to be mixed in with the carbon dioxide and the syrup and all the crap. It's got to go through a filter first, at least a basic filter. And so I know I'm not getting chlorine and a lot of the organic chemicals and things. But
And
when
with
I am
ice in it,
traveling,
even worse.
I
I
know
hate
it's
when they give me ice. We're like
moldy.
on an
It's moldy.
airplane. I'm like, don't put ice in my water,
Oh my
please.
gosh. I can tell you can tell when a company doesn't clean out their filters because the soda tastes like mold too.
Sure.
And I don't drink a lot of soda, but even when the water comes out of the soda machine and it smells like mold or tastes like mold, the sodas all have mold in them, but it's masked. So when I'm traveling, I typically will try to I will find filtered water or I will purchase bottled water. And I try to get Voss water because it's in glass and that's better than plastic. But if I don't have something in glass, then I'm going to choose reverse osmosis or distilled water and I'm going to put it in my flask and do it. Now, I'll also put spring water. That's fine. But I've just gotten to where I kind of know what I'm looking for. And when I do travel, I'm a little bit blessed. I'll use that word. I was going to say spoiled, but I'm not spoiled. I'm blessed. And I'm in the Sky Club or the American Club. And so they have filtered water there. And I'll go in there and get filtered water and stuff. When I'm on the plane, I don't get ice because I think it could be sketchy on the plane, but I do get the water out of the bottles and I'll put it in the flask. Or if I've already had hydrogen water for the day, I just drink the water with no ice. It's great. I'll get 2 or 3 of those at least on a flight. So you just have to do the best you can. Luckily for me, a lot of places I go, they have my water because I'm going there for business purposes.
Yeah, that's nice.
He's coming. He's coming.
He's a guy, I
Get the
mean,
water.
if it's trade shows, we have our water there, of course, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I just
That's
try
nice
to
to
do
be
the
the water
best I
guy.
can. And, I'm not perfect. I definitely wouldn't even want to be. Wouldn't that be horrible to be perfect? So I don't want to be,
Stressful. Be
yeah. Oh my
stressful.
Very
gosh. You're like,
stressful.
I
Yeah.
screwed up. It's the end of the world. So
Yeah.
I don't want to be perfect. And quite honestly, I do eat ice cream. It's pretty rare nowadays because I do walk a couple miles a day, 2 or 3 miles a day. I do like exercise and I'm now older, and so I have to keep myself in check. But I do like ice cream every once in a while. I've always liked ice cream. I don't eat a lot of cake type stuff, with the heavy sugar. Because I'll tell you where I eat sugar is in Europe, Italy, France, and England. I will eat desserts there because it's a third of the sugar as we put in the US.
Really? I
Yeah,
didn't
they
know
don't put
that.
sugar in there. And there's also no pesticides in their foods.
That's why the gelato tastes so good over there.
Let me tell you, I can't pass a gelato shop in Italy. So
No.
I
That
would
would
tell
be
you,
painful.
Italy doesn't allow pesticides. Europe doesn't. I hope they don't change that, but they haven't in the past. I literally have friends of mine that live here in Utah that are gluten and dairy intolerant. They can't even eat organic food that has gluten, but they can go to Italy and eat regular bread and pasta with zero issues. In fact, they'll lose weight, inflammation will go down, and they're supposedly gluten intolerant. Well, we know they're not gluten intolerant. They're pesticide intolerant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Glyphosate intolerant.
yeah, that's the thing. So I do love Europe. If I had my way, I'd probably live in Italy as a visitor. I mean, I do have Italian, history, so I'm kind of Italian, my last name and all, but I love
There you go.
America. I'm not like I'm leaving. I love America. I love where America's going, but I do love Italy.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even with late dinners and all, I'm like,
8
passeggiata,
o'clock. Let's
gelato,
go.
give me an espresso. I know they got a good thing going, but
They're smart. Let me tell you, those Italians have it together.
I
So
know.
Italians
the
are the
first time I
best.
took my wife over there, we went to dinner at 5 or 6. No one's there.
No.
They're not even open at 5. How'd
No,
you get
they're
in?
open, but they're like,
They're like just now
what are
putting the
these people
chairs
doing? Yeah, like,
down.
what are they doing? They're eating. What are they doing?
Yeah, they're
So
eating
we're
very late breakfast. What are you
my
doing?
gosh. So my wife and I, like, we're staying in Naples. Look, the hotel's looking out over there. We go to a little restaurant around the corner and it's nobody there. And we're like, what's going on? Like the streets are dead, right? 8 o'clock. All of a sudden, my wife's like, what's all that noise outside? She looks outside. The street is full. People are dressed to the nines. They've got baby carriages out there. They're doing whatever. I said, baby, what do you think? She goes, I don't know. I said, let's get dressed and go. Let's go out there. So she's like, all right, we go out there. Life is happening outside at 8. They're not even thinking about ending the program till midnight. Let me tell you, if you start at
For
8,
them.
Yeah.
it's 4 hours. What else are you going to do? So,
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, do you know how many people are sick in Italy? Very small number. Do you know how many people have disease? Very small. They are living their best lives because they are not destroying themselves.
Yeah. Very,
Yeah.
very different food system.
You
So we
don't
do
hear
have
a
to.
lot of Italian people going to the gym. You don't hear that.
No, people don't even wear athleisure on the
No,
street. You're like,
no, they're
you're
walking
strange if
everywhere.
you
That's
have
good enough.
leggings and sneakers. You have to
Yeah,
You
put your
look
pants on.
American. You
yeah,
look
Yeah.
American if you wear athleisure over there.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. And I like hardly put pants on here. I'm like gym clothes.
They're all looking gorgeous and they're like working out. What's that?
Yeah. I know. I mean, I would really love that. But we have our challenges here and we rise
It's
to the
true.
occasion.
It's
We do
true.
our things. And,
We have to
I
adapt.
think a lot of people are getting turned on to hydrogen, but now this happens with everything when things get popular. People make bottles that are cheap
They're
or
scams.
tablets that don't do
Yes.
things. So
Yes.
can you tell us what to look for and maybe a little PSA on why you don't want to just grab the cheapest bottle on
Yes.
Amazon?
Yes. So that is excellent. I love you, Lauren, for saying that. Thank you. Perfect lead in because when Joe Rogan talked about Echo Water, because he loves that Echo Go Plus like you have, when he talked about that 3 years ago, it 10x'd our monthly sales. And in 60 days, I'm not exaggerating, it 10x'd us.
Thank you,
And
Joe.
thank you, Joe Rogan. I personally love you and I've never met you, But
And I hope you're listening to this right now.
yeah, I hope you're listening
Yeah.
to Biohacker Babes
Our
because
number one follower.
yeah, your number one is Joe Rogan. But Joe Rogan is a freaking rock star. I love that dude personally. I think he's amazing and would want to bless his life any way possible. So here we go. Once that happened, every company was taking Gary Brecka's videos, my videos, editing them, putting them on a scam site, trying to sell their crap bottles. And what do I mean by crap? 89%. This is I'm telling you a real number. I'm just not marketing you right now. Please hear what I'm saying. This is truth. 89% of the products on the market that are marketed as hydrogen bottles are not. They are scam products making chlorine, not hydrogen. And so it's unfortunate people are getting scammed with these 30, 50, 60, $99 bottles. They are not hydrogen. I will tell you, we're the largest hydrogen water manufacturer in the world. We cannot sell you a bottle at $60. We would be losing money. If we sold something for 99, we would lose money. You cannot manufacture a true hydrogen bottle with a proton exchange membrane system and sell it effectively at that price and be profitable. So please understand you're not beating the system by buying something for cheap on Amazon or Alibaba. You're getting scammed. You're not being brilliant. I love the idea and A for effort, but you're not accomplishing anything other than getting chlorine in your body. And we've had so many people say, yeah, the water tastes like swamp water. It's bad. And I had to go buy the Echo anyways. So don't waste your money. Or they'll break within a month or two. And good luck with finding a human being that can help you. Please invest in your health. Get an appropriate hydrogen product. You can be guaranteed that Echo is the true hydrogen water company. We're the OG, we're the original, and we have the best products. I mean, this has a 5-year warranty. You're going to have support for 5 years on that. Your iPhone doesn't even have that. And you're spending $1,200, $1,300 for a year warranty. This is a $299 product with an app and a touch screen. And you can set your fitness goals. You can set your water goals, your hydrogen goals, and it'll track it for you. I'm telling
That's
you,
cool.
for
Very
$299, it's
cool.
not bad for 5 years.
Yeah.
Now,
And every glass of water is what, like pennies at this point?
yeah,
Probably 25 cents.
yeah, because you're talking $299 divided by 5 years, and when you figure it out, it's about 10 cents.
Wow.
Now, you take a tablet, and I'm not saying tablets aren't a way to get hydrogen water. They actually are. And I know Alex Terneva, who makes the tablets for everybody, they're about $1 per use.
Yeah, it's
So,
expensive.
so literally, if you were to compare to tablets, if you use this only one time a day, but I'm saying you need to be 3 to 6 times a day would be great for you. But one time a day times 5 years, you're $1,500 to have one tablet a day for 5 years. So this is 1/5 the cost of tablets, and you don't have an overabundance of magnesium coming into your body. You don't have potential contaminants and metals coming into your body from the tablets itself. You're not overdoing it with it. So it's much better to go this route. People that do want to have a mixed drink of some kind, like a tablet, we do make the Echo Hydrogen Prebiotic drink mix. It is apple flavor. It's like a Jolly Rancher in a glass. It's so good. And it has 3 prebiotics. So it'll actually seed the gut when you're wanting to repair your gut. And then it's giving you at least 8 to 12 parts per million of hydrogen gas, and it tastes amazing. People love the taste. And so we do have that available, but nothing is going to beat this for cost effectiveness and portability because you just pour water in it and use it. So
Yeah.
don't be
With the
scared.
prebiotic powder, do you have to drink it quite immediately, similar to a tablet? Or I don't, with the bottle, do you have to drink it? Because it's a gas that
2 hours.
evaporates, correct?
You got 2 hours. If
2
you
hours, but
so if it's under pressure, you have longer, but once you release the pressure, open the lid, pour it out into a glass, you have 2 hours. And that would be the
okay.
same as the drink mix, but I would just say drink it faster than if it takes you 2 hours to drink 12 ounces of water. We have a training mentoring program for you. It's, and that's a joke, of course, but
Step right in. We will teach
Renee
you.
will be handling that at her rooftop chalet. That
Yeah.
Yep.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
I
do
always thought the tablets were like a little annoying because you got to wait for them to dissolve, but the clock is ticking. I'm like, I gotta drink it, but I'm
Yeah.
waiting for it to dissolve.
right.
Although
Well,
something interesting with the tablets, like I've had like Quicksilver Scientific, for example, like I've had their tablets and it fizzes up and it's like it's wild and crazy. I had a company send me some hydrogen tablets recently and I was like, all right, I'll try them out. I put one in there and like nothing's happening. The next day I put two, next day I put three. I'm like, this is not hydrogen. I don't know what
wow,
this
Like,
scam is.
no gas, no bubbles.
wow.
Three, and it was like barely bubbling and it took like an hour to dissolve three tablets. And I was like, what kind of
What
fake?
the heck was
Wow.
that?
Yeah,
Wow.
so that went in the trash.
Okay, well, don't do that. Here's what I can tell you.
Yeah.
What's really cool, I can show you how the drink mix works, but what happens is it's in a stick pack. If you have a 16-ounce bottle, you just put all the stuff in the 16-ounce bottle. You don't need to shake it. You don't need to do anything. It mixes itself immediately. If you put it in a regular glass, it'll mix itself. You don't need to stir it. You don't
Hmm,
need to do
that's
anything
cool.
with ours. It will mix itself and it will react because it's powder. It's not in a tablet form that's been pressed. It's in mix form. So it's going to mix into the water by itself. And you watch it. There's a little bit of a head that occurs, and then that goes down, and then you drink it. It's like literally probably a minute or two. And then you can consume it. And it just tastes like wonderful crisp apple flavor. And you got hydrogen and three prebiotics. And if you understand, there are prebiotics and postbiotics. Most people are taking postbiotics because that's going to help you as a band-aid. Prebiotics can actually help the gut be restored. And so when you combine hydrogen and prebiotic, you're going to rapidly increase gut function.
Mm,
Awesome.
very cool.
Okay. And I like the flavor. It reminds me of being a kid.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it reminds me of your birthday because we would always do Hallow
Ah,
Scream, like the
Yeah, Six
theme park.
Flags.
Six
yeah.
Flags at her birthday, and I would always get the
Yes.
sour apple everything, sour
Yeah.
apple cake.
The best.
I love sour apple.
Good.
I like
You go
it.
like
Yeah. Oh, it's the
mouth
best.
gets
Yeah.
all puckery. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Good choice on that.
Cleaner version.
Yep. So
Yeah.
some people do like a flavored water. I mean, clearly it's every grocery store has a whole aisle devoted to drinks that have flavor. So clearly we cannot refute the fact that people like a taste versus just water. So we do have that available for you. We also have the flask, which is the most effective and economically priced product in the world for 5 years. You can use this 3 times a day for 5.5 years with zero reduction of hydrogen performance. Fortunately, the scam bottles not only start out with a tiny amount of hydrogen or none, but they will decline in performance over a few months period. And Gary talked about this in one of his podcasts that he did with Joe Rogan, where he said a lot of these bottles, he wasn't talking about ours because he uses ours and he still talks positively about our product line. But he was talking about the scam products that are the so-called hydrogen models. They will decline in performance over a few months of having them because they didn't start out as a true hydrogen product in the first place. You will have zero reduction in any of our products at all. So Echo Water products, you can be guaranteed you're going to have hydrogen for many, many years with no reduction in performance. So that's important to understand.
Yeah. Well, we tell our audience all the time, don't buy the cheap stuff. If you can't afford the stuff that actually works, like save up. And then when you're ready, invest in the high quality stuff that we know is
Right.
science backed. Like
Right.
just don't waste your money on these scams. There's too many of them out there.
Well, exactly. And if people have a hard time affording $299, we
That's
have financing for that on our website. And you'll be surprised how many people finance $299, but it's just a payment plan. And we also, just so everyone knows, all Echo products are HSA and FSA approved. So you can use your HSA money and your FSA money to buy Echo right from our website. Right from
awesome.
our
That's
website.
awesome. Thank you for that. That's very
Yeah.
cool. But I also think like we could just reallocate funds, like the amount of money people are spending on
Netflix,
probiotics.
Starbucks.
Oh my
Well, I
gosh.
was even just jump into the supplements, but yes, all the extracurriculars. But we're spending on short chain fatty acid supplements and butyrates
Uh-huh.
and just all the gut stuff when we could just change the voltage in the gut and make it work better.
Yeah.
more
No,
naturally, with less.
I tell you what, it's really simple. People don't understand how simple it is to help your gut, to fix your gut. They don't understand, and they don't
Yeah. It's
because the
confusing.
information out there is
People are,
confusing. Yes,
it's a lot of nonsense out there. Yeah.
there it is, and it's just kind of funny because I heard this podcast one time. They said when exercise and diet doesn't work, and then he stopped and goes, "Well, exercise and diet never don't work." So you do. I'm not saying work out 20 hours a day, but I'm saying exercise doesn't mean you're working out for 7 hours to look like Mr. Universe or Mrs. Universe. But getting exercise, walking around the block, going and doing something outside every day is great. I have the Apple Watch. I know some people are going to hate that, but it tracks my movement. It tells me how many steps per day. It tells me when I've stood enough. It tells me to stand I like that kind of stuff. And
I like
people that
metrics for
people that
sure.
don't want those devices, don't get those devices. You can get Oura rings, you can do other stuff too, but the reality is do something, move your body. And I'm very, 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 very lucky and blessed. And I don't say this in a way, but downstairs in my home, I have a gym. I have a red light bed, of course. I have an ice bath. I have a steam room. I have a sauna room. I have a treadmill. I have all these things because I want to stay active and fit and young. And I promise you, I'm not working out for an hour or two a day. I am just
Me
moving
either.
my body a bit because it's good to do that. I'm not disciplined enough to do 2 hours in a gym. I just have to be downstairs where I can do it in my own house and I find stuff to do. But if you don't have a gym in your house, one of the healthiest things you can do to look good for men and women is to walk, and that's free. Get headphones, wired or wireless, I don't care. Get headphones and walk around the block with some music, or you can also do push-ups. For men, push-ups are one of the greatest things for your core, your chest, your arms, your shoulders. That's when you look good. That's when you can like wear a tighter shirt and be comfortable with the way you look. Push-ups, right? Just push-ups.
So simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone
On
can
the
do
topic
that.
of push-ups and exercise, I think we touched on this in our last episode with you, but are there any timing things you would want to avoid with drinking hydrogen water because it's an antioxidant? You mentioned like we would be able to exercise longer, the performance sort of gets sustained, but do you want to avoid combining it with antioxidant supplements, or is there anything around exercise in particular?
So that's so
You're not allowed to have a favorite on this show.
I don't, of course not. I would
It's
never,
okay.
I
Renee's
would
usually
ne-
the fave babe, so
I
give
know
it to
it's like
me.
so rude of me. I'm sorry, man.
No,
So I don't have a
Renee's the
favorite. I love you
princess.
both. And by the sounds of it, I'm gonna like you, Renee, because of your place in Vegas. But no, so
Party.
long story short, hydrogen is a selective antioxidant and it is not function like a traditional antioxidant. So traditional antioxidants are an electron donor. Hydrogen has no extra electron. It's neutral. It's not functioning like a antioxidant would. It is a signal modulator, like you said earlier. So the way it's accomplishing antioxidant effects in the body is by modulating pathways like NRF1, NRF2, all these kind of things that are antioxidant pathways, but it's a signal modulator. It's not an electron donor. So there is no concern with chemotherapy, any modalities for cancer that say no antioxidants. Hydrogen doesn't fit in there. In fact, there are 123 studies on cancer, and they did studies where you combine chemotherapy with hydrogen water, and it was 100% cancer cell death because hydrogen water turned back on apoptosis. And so with cancer cells, apoptosis is turned off. That's why they're dividing and living happy lives. Hydrogen will benefit or turn back on apoptosis. So these cells are now destroying themselves. So there's no contraindication would be the medical term we would use. There's no contraindication to combine hydrogen with any other modality. There are only two things that happen or that you could have that you would not want to take a ton of hydrogen water, and that is H. pylori
Mm.
and SIBO that's hydrogen-based SIBO. So SIBO can be methane
Oh,
or hydrogen. If it's methane-based, drink all the hydrogen water you want. If it's hydrogen-based, you're gonna have discomfort in your small intestine because these bacteria are gonna love hydrogen. It's an energy source for them. Same is true for H. pylori. Hydrogen is an energy source for H. pylori. So we need to get rid of H. pylori. We need to get rid of SIBO. Now, SIBO is the
okay.
right bacteria in the wrong place. That's all it really is. And so if you drink smaller amounts of hydrogen water in the beginning, then you'll be fine too. But
Because
those are
that
the
could shift the terrain. That's interesting. Like that
yes,
probably would help. You just need to not overdo it.
that's in the beginning, right? And so, I mean,
Hmm.
one of the ways people get SIBO is by fasting and then eating fermented foods as they break their fast. The worst thing you
Mm,
could do
hmm.
because now you're
Huh.
gonna cause SIBO because you're going to have the right bacteria too quickly upchain because they're going to get the fermented food and your body's going to react to it and love it, but it's too far north. So we don't want to break our fast with fermented foods. We want to break a fast with a broth or something else. Now, people that are doing water fasting, which I love water fasting, I typically do a 3 to 5 days sometimes, and that's great. But we've had people do 21-day water fasts with Echo Water because you won't have the hunger. It'll be the
Wow.
easiest water fast you ever do in your entire life if you use Echo Water.
Huh.
So, like
Okay.
Mindy Pels, who wrote Fast Like a Girl, don't fast on your menstrual cycle, ladies. Don't do it. Be smart about those things. Understand as females, you're complex. I think you know that. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I think women are incredible and we should love them and champion them far more because they're incredible, right? But there's complexity to the way their system works. Let's understand they can manufacture people. They're like a totally different thing than men. So understand you can't just think I'm going to do what men are going to do. I don't have
Yeah,
a
no.
cycle or a period. I might have a cycle, but I don't have a period. Let's say that. I don't have a menstrual cycle. So I could fast it all the time whenever. I don't have the same concerns, but women definitely cannot fast or
Yeah.
do things. And so in a male dominant industry like biohacking is, except for we got the biohacker babes, but let's be honest, it's a male driven society. They'll say, do this, but they don't take into consideration it's very different for a female than a male when you're talking about these modalities because there are less that can happen. So, yeah, obviously, you shouldn't be working out the same when your hormone shifts are different and fasting when your body's in a certain hormonal cycle. So, I would just say use common sense, but
Yeah. I'm actually reading a new book. I think it's called The Period Brain. Lauren, you got a copy. Dr. Sarah Hill.
I don't
And
know
it's
her.
she's phenomenal and
No.
talks a lot about what you were just talking about. But
Yeah.
even when we're looking at the female monthly cycle, a lot of the discussion has been around like when estrogen peaks, all about like sexuality and building muscle. It's all about the estrogen peak.
Yeah.
And then the whole like progesterone
Right.
side, everyone just says, PMS, it's PMS, it's
Right.
PMS. But like
Right.
no one's really talking about like how to optimize the luteal phase. So thank you for saying that. Yes, our audience, you got to be mindful of the cycle. So important.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on. I mean,
We're special.
the whole reason I created Echo Water was after healing my wife. And what was her issue? Menstrual,
Mm,
thyroid,
I was gonna ask you about that.
gynecological. My wife would lose. I mean, we're girls here. We can talk about it. She would soak 2 tampons in a pad an hour.
Mm,
It's a
She
lot.
was
It's a
losing
lot.
30 to 40 ounces of blood per cycle. She was anemic.
mm,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
So this was our life 20 years ago. And I was like, I got to do something. I kind of like her a lot. And I don't want her to. I was married 10 years. And I'm like, I don't want to be a widow at 10 years. Who wants that? Right. I kind of like, if I didn't like her, that'd be different. I'd be like, okay, maybe. But I liked her a lot. So, and I love her. And we've been married 31 years now. The reality is, Echo Water is a result of helping her, but she had hypothyroid. She had adenomyosis. Her uterine lining was growing into itself. Her periods were painful. She couldn't hardly get out of bed. So let me tell you, I understand female stuff, and it's no joke. When you've got an issue, you got an issue. It is a big change in the body and the brain. So I love the fact that this person who I don't know, Sarah Hill, wrote this book because we need to be focusing. We can't be like each other. We need to celebrate our differences. I'm not the same as a woman. I will tell you that right now. And my wife's not the same as me. I c-
Yeah.
and the people that think we gotta be equal are crazy in their head. They're if the beauty
Yeah.
is the
We're
fact that
getting
we're
there.
not equal. If we were all the same, how freaking boring is that?
It would be very boring.
My gosh, like God created male and female for a reason. We are imperfect without each other. The brain type, mine and my wife's, I need her. I
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
her perspective. Mine, I would say, I would venture to say, in all aspects of life, would be flawed without that feedback. There are some things like when I fix a toilet, maybe I don't need her input, but the point is, other things I
Most
do.
of the time, complimentary should be.
Yes, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, she doesn't care
Yeah.
to fix the toilet.
Yeah.
The point is, we both have amazing abilities, and men and women are built different. And it's on purpose. It wasn't by accident. It is by purpose that we complement each other. And I don't believe there is perfection until male and female are together. And some women do have more male thinking. I've met them. I hire them typically. They have more male and female mix, and some are far more emotional, and some men are more emotional, and some are not. Wouldn't know an emotion if they slapped them upside the head with it. But the point is, we're different, and there's a continuum of people, but largely, I'm just generalizing, together, male and female are perfection. If we put the two together and make decisions together, make decisions with both input, those decisions, in my opinion, are far better always. So celebrate the differences, celebrate who you are, and own it. Don't try to be something you're not. You're never going to be something you're not. You're always going to be overcompensating, which is not who you truly are. Your divine nature is who you are. Be who you are, and let's change the world with that beauty that you are. Not trying to be something you're not, because when people try to be something they're not, they actually mess up right brain and left brain because
Sure.
they're trying to
Yeah.
be something they're not.
Yeah. I mean,
Authenticity is
it's very difficult for women because I think a lot of women still think that there is no hope for bad menstrual cycles and periods and things that we have to deal with. And we know, of course, like if we help the terrain, we help the system, we support the body in doing what it naturally does. Like this doesn't have to be something that we fear and hate and demonize. So I love that hydrogen could be such a amazing solution for this. Are there studies
Yes.
on
On hormones,
adenomyosis?
female, yes. I've
That one in
done
particular, because that's the one that's like, "Oh, there's nothing you can
okay.
do about that." I'm like, "Well, there's
Okay, we
always
should
something
do
we
a
can do."
podcast just devoted to female hormones and how hydrogen affects all those pathways. We would spend an entire hour just focused on women and the beauty of them and the complexity and yet simpleness of what makes women what and who they are, and how hydrogen would naturally be affecting all of that positively with very little menopause effects, negative effects of menopause, very little hormone disruption. You got to understand that progesterone and estrogen and all that is benefited by hydrogen in the body. And the entire gut terrain and biome is all about the manufacturing of hormones and peptides in the body, naturally occurring peptides and nitric oxide.
Yeah.
Hydrogen's involved with all of these things.
Wow.
So
So
we
simple.
could do that. I would love that. That would be amazing to do because women need to understand this. They're going to buy every freaking product on the planet to try to help themselves, and it's like,
Mhm.
guys, let's just fix you.
Yeah, fix you, fix the
You're
terrain,
enough
fix the
by yourself.
system.
You don't need to have expensive pee.
Yeah, but I think it's good for people to hear these specific circumstances,
Yeah,
like your wife, or
yeah.
I think I shared the last time we had you on. I had a client, firefighter, so lots of
Oh
inflammation,
yeah,
oxidative stress, couldn't lose weight. I turned him on to hydrogen. He was like, bam,
yeah,
lost weight
yeah, yeah,
so fast.
yeah.
His body needed to come back in balance. We know how crazy being a firefighter is. You're exposed to literally everything. It's bad.
Well, testosterone and hydrogen, that'll speed up weight loss for men for sure because he's
Uh,
a firefighter. Cortisol is a part of his life.
yeah.
And
Stress,
cortisol,
circadian rhythm, gut
yeah,
pollutions, EMF, like all of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And cortisol is going to take all these things to change all that. And it's going to deplete those systems and you need to build them back up. It's like a car. You put gas in, it doesn't last forever. You got to put more in.
Yeah. The right kind. Don't cut corners on the
Right?
fuel. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you talk
exactly.
a little bit more? I want to make sure we get to the bath and maybe the differences of drinking hydrogen water versus the bath unit where you would be submerged.
Yes, you would be mostly. You don't have to go crazy and be like under there with a straw or anything, but you can put it on
Scuba
your.
mask.
Yeah, right. You can go under the water, but sometimes there's two tubes with the Echo Bath unit. There's two tubes. One's pulling water in, one's pushing water. You can take the one that's pushing water and kind of run it on your face if you want. Close your eyes, of course. Run it on your face, run it on your chest, your arms if you want to specifically do that. You can do that. You can also have them underwater and run it right next to you. But I would tell you what's really cool. The most effective method of administration is drinking water because that's going to fix your gut. Being in the bathtub is going to not work in that same way. What for cognitive function and for overall health, it's drinking water. For long COVID, chest or lung related issues, asthma, different things, inhalation. For weight loss, for skin, splotchy skin, eczema, psoriasis, thin skin, if you have less collagen, you have wrinkles, you have that
Crepey.
crepey kind, yep,
Yeah.
face, hair, all these kind of things, use the bath because that's going to be aesthetics. It also, after 30 days, you're going to see your stomach and your waist have that hourglass shape. And you don't have to go exercise for 9,000 hours. You can just sit in a bath every day and love life and read a book or do whatever you do in the bathtub. And maybe it would calm you down too, because being in a bath calms people down. So I would just tell you, getting one of those bath units is excellent and just get in it. You don't have to do anything else. Just get in it and enjoy your life and ponder life. And after 30 days of using it once a day, there are multiple studies showing less fat, the density. When we're talking about the biomarkers, they're changing simply by getting in a bath. And again, collagen with your skin, splotchiness. If you have splotchy skin, that you will see a difference in one bath.
How long is the bath?
Oh, half an hour, right? It's
Half
typical
hour?
bath, half an hour.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, do whatever you do, whatever you want to do, but typically half an hour is enough, right?
Okay.
And it
Yeah.
doesn't need to be really hot water. I would just be at body above a little bit above body temperature, so it feels nice. But you don't need to be 104 where you're like scorching yourself. You could just be like 99 where it feels nice and warm to you.
Okay. Easy enough.
So, what if the water's not great that's coming out of your bathtub?
Well, then you're probably taking showers in that same water every day,
For
and
sure, but like most people don't have
right, we can get you
filtration.
a whole house filter as low as $3,500.
Sure. But I mean,
Now we can
you're not
also
going to do
help
that?
you with a filtration system that can filter the bath, but you're going to start with a bath full of contaminants. And typically you'll run
Right.
the unit for 10 or 15 minutes before you get in, so to saturate the water. So you will, if you got a filter system on the bath unit, you could filter the water, but you know,
Yeah.
Okay. Good question, Lar. Yeah.
yeah, thanks for bringing that. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it is true because your body will absorb some things. It won't absorb
Yeah.
all things, but the body will absorb certain things that are in the water for sure. Now, in my house, I have a very robust water system, and so I don't have any contaminants in the water. But
Yeah.
Well, I
Okay.
know you have like the kitchen makeover, which is cool for
yes,
your, at
that's
least
my
the kitchen.
favorite thing.
Yeah, that's
Promote.
very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I promote the kitchen makeover because the cost is amazing. It's giving you the healthiest and cleanest drinking water and hydrogen. And so I always say don't be a filter, buy a filter. So that's kind of the way to do that. And it's normally 3,600. It's only 2,554 or something on the website. It's the best system
Awesome.
you could buy. for a kitchen makeover and have the best water, that alone would change a lot of people's lives by having clean water for their pancreatic system, for kidney inflammation reduction, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Clean water should be like the start for everyone.
Yeah.
So
Well,
amazing.
even the RO is only like $600. You would end up having the purest water you could put in your body. It's on demand. The thing I like about the system I designed, it filters 99.7% of contaminants out, and it doesn't have a tank to take up room and to only give you 2 gallons of water. It is going to make a quarter gallon a minute as long as you need it to, so you never run out of drinking water and cooking water.
Amazing. Cool. All right. Well, we'll link to the website in the show notes so everyone can find it and learn more. To wrap up, thank you for sharing all this. Can you give our audience one final piece of advice? And I think I said this last time we had you on. Other than drink hydrogen water, what
The
would be
obvious.
one thing people can start doing today?
I probably know what I said the other time because it's my favorite thing to say, and I will say what I said last time, but I'm gonna go into a little more detail. I think people don't understand the power of forgiveness and not holding claim on other people's lives. And I am not saying that in a perspective of allow abuse. We should never allow ourselves to be abused. We should get away from abusive people. It's never acceptable to be abusive or to abuse other people under any circumstance for any reason. But you can choose to forgive and exit the relationship. It doesn't lessen you. It amplifies and increases you as an individual, and it releases you from a lot of damage emotionally. Because as you hold on to things, you are affecting yourself negatively. And unfortunately, in our society, we believe that if we forgive someone, we somehow have condoned or made it okay. You have not made it okay. You've simply not holding on to the emotion and the claim on that person's life. Let God or whatever you believe is the higher power in your life hold on to that and deal with that and keep that on a spreadsheet somewhere. You don't need to. Just release them and don't go around it anymore. So you don't need to be abused and get away from it. And so the reason I say that is I think it's important to prioritize relationships. I think that it's critical to make sure that we are focusing on relationships that are important in our lives. Family, right? Family that's not dysfunctional, family that's not abusive. If your family's abusive, find another friend group or another group. You do not need to stay just because you're blood, period. If you're married and you're in an abusive relationship, you do not need to stay there for the children. They know you're being abused. They know it's not a good situation. Move on and get away from harm, but you can forgive. In this whole process, I think personal relationships are what's most important. Beyond business, beyond making money, beyond what car you drive, what house you live in, it is the relationships that should be or hopefully are valuable to you. And focus on the relationships where you're being honored and you're able to honor others and be your legitimate self. I know leaving relationships sometimes has monetary deficits and monetary damage to you, but happiness goes up and you can always recover. You can always, once you're done healing, you'll attract someone else who is similar to you. But I just think making priorities for our family, for children, especially for other loved ones. Let's pretend you're in a marriage where it's not abusive, but you've grown apart. Go on dates again. Do the things that you know will increase your relationship. Actually invest yourself in that relationship like you would any other, even a podcast for heaven's sakes, right? Invest in this other person. Find out what they're doing. It's like a it's like a new relationship again sometimes. And remember, communication between male and female is very different. I was in a mentoring thing yesterday, and I had a husband and wife. The wife is starting a business. The husband has, starting a business, and they were having collisions just talking with me. And I said to them, you two don't understand how you solve problems. The way women solve problems is completely opposite of the way men solve problems. And because you don't understand how each other figures out the problem and then comes up with a solution, you're creating conflict in your relationship. But I'm going to teach you in 1 minute how you each are doing it so you'll understand the behavior, what you're observing, and all of a sudden it will make sense and you won't have these collisions. And I said to the husband, you as a man, typically, this isn't 100%, but it's 99%, you typically will go and think about stuff and figure out what the problem is and come back with a solution. And you'll report that solution to your wife. Now, her name was Julie. I said, you, Julie, will want to talk about until you understand the problem. You got to spend 20 minutes talking about it until you understand what's wrong, then another 20 minutes to figure out a solution. Well, you're going to come to him and start talking, and within 10 minutes, he's got a solution for you. And you're like, you never listen to me. And he's going to think, wait a minute, I'm incredible. All I had to do was listen for 10 minutes and I had the perfect solution. He thinks he's a hero. He's not a hero. And I told him, you need to put on the girlfriend hat. And he goes, what's that? And I said, the one that goes, oh, really? Oh my gosh. Are you serious? Really? That's terrible. And you don't have a job to do but to listen and let her figure out her own issue. She'll come up with a solution. If she needs you, she'll ask. Until she asks you to help her with a solution, stop trying to fix her problems. Let her do it and just be there to love on her. And I said, and Julie, when he comes to you and tells you, hey, guess what? Don't think he needs 20 minutes like you to figure out his problem. He already went to the cave, figured out what was wrong, and he's coming back to report. You're just supposed to listen and go, oh, how can I support you? You're telling me the solution after sitting and thinking about it for 8 hours or 10 hours that men do in every possible scenario. And they were both like, oh my gosh, that totally happens. That's when the fights start. And I'm like, yeah, now you don't have to do that anymore. Because when she comes to you, you know you've got an hour. In your brain, I'm devoting an hour to Julie. Julie needs to talk. And you just need to know. Your job is to sit and listen and be supportive. You're not supposed to fix anything. You're not supposed to come up with a solution unless she asks. Let her go. And you, Julie, when he comes, he's presenting his findings. He's not coming to figure out the problem. He already did that. He's coming to do it. I said, so here's the problem. When you see him looking like he's got an issue and you go, hey, let's talk. Tell me all about it. He doesn't want to talk. He doesn't know what the problem is yet. He needs to go think. And by you pushing him, gosh, this thing is funny, right? This AI is moving in.
Yeah, it's all good.
So when he
Dramatic.
comes, you don't get him talking because it'll frustrate him because he doesn't know yet what he's supposed to say and what the problem is. And because of these kind of things, the reality is male and female don't know how to navigate critical conversations, and it creates conflict and fights. It is simply because the mechanism of male and female is opposite of how we figure out the problem. And so the other person is assuming that person acts like them or functions like them, and they don't. And so usually when we learn these things, we can honor each other and allow each other to have our space and the process that we normally go through and not have collisions and just be there as a support to each other. There you go. There you go. Besides hydrogen, there's some pearls of wisdom.
Some marriage advice and forgiveness. I love that.
Yes.
Holding
Yeah.
a grudge is only going to hurt
Oh my
you.
gosh. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Truly. Yeah.
love
Well,
that.
Dr. Paul,
All right.
thank you for your wisdom on hydrogen and relationships. We could keep talking forever and ever, but
Yeah.
it is 5 p.m. where I am. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, so yeah, everyone listening, scroll down in the show notes. We're going to put all the goodies, the website. We have a discount code, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. We got all the links. So scroll down, make sure you do that to learn more. And yeah, thank you, Paul, for joining us for round 2.
My gosh, I love it.
We love it.
All right. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Love this episode of the Biohacker Babes podcast? Head over to Apple Podcasts to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. We truly appreciate your support. Until then, happy biohacking! This podcast offers health, fitness, and nutritional information and is designed for educational purposes only. You should not rely on this information as a substitute for, nor does it replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you have any concerns or questions about your health, you should always consult with a physician or other healthcare professional.